Wembanyama looked great. I mean, very athletic. He can threes. Holmgren actually did very well also. I think he might have outscored the Wemby man in this game. But every time I saw a highlight, he was getting knocked out. He looked like Jerry Quarry. Yeah, I think Tommy Hearns had a better chin than this guy, right? And the unfortunate thing for the hitman was if you blew on his chin, he went down. Literally, did you see any of these highlights? Because Holmgren, every play, he was knocked on his ass. Although he performed very well, and he shrugged it off. It reminded me of like Ryan Tannehill when I saw him get just clobbered in the his rookie season with the Miami Dolphins. A guy gets annihilated in a preseason game, just taken out with a vicious Marvin Jones on Gina Toretta type of hit. I'm looking to see, what this guy's reaction is going to be. They show him on the bench and he's laughing.
Yeah. No,
and I thought, okay, I mean, this guy can live with a concussed head. He's very much like Troy Aikman. But they should just, hit Dolphin quarterbacks over the head with a sledgehammer as their initiation at their rookie introductory press conference. Just say, okay, now it's time to get a little bit of a feel for what it's going to be like to be back there.
Just set them up for what's
Boom, right in the head.
You can handle this. You can handle being a Dolphin.
A surprise shot to the temple from out of nowhere. And if they're still, talking at the press conference after that, then, that's my quarterback.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Very pleasant good morning, everybody. Great to be with you on this fine Thursday. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie Lubitz, another edition of the Defo Show here on South Florida Live and various other platforms. Good to have you guys along for the ride. We will have, we are anticipating having, although that hasn't been the case that we could count on this with any kind of certainty. In fact, one thing we know is certain that the last couple of weeks, so we've had to blow off the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, the highly heralded Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge with Dave Gurggles Gergely, who has a new setup, the place where he's working there in Miami Lakes, which is now run by the DeLuca family. Charlie DeLuca, one of the greats in terms of, a great name, right up there with Raymond Floyd or any of the terrific golf entities that have originated here or made their life here in South Florida for long periods of time. I would say DeLuca was golf royalty. Ran all of those youth programs, and this was at Mel Reese, which was a public park that had an excellent golf course, very challenging golf course. I played there many, many times. I was not a good golfer at that time, nor was I ever a very good golfer. But at that time, I was really a novice in the game. And I was playing Mel Reese quite frequently because I lived in Dade County, believe it or not, Lubie. I actually lived in Coral Gables for a period of time in my life. A very brief period of time, but nonetheless, I was there. That was at a time where it was far more manageable to live in Dade County, where it wasn't like you were going to be in a traffic jam just trying to move your car to the other side of the driveway.
Yeah.
Which it became prohibitive, to enjoy life there. But unless I would imagine if you're living on Biscayne Bay or something, that might be nice. But in general, I wanted to get out of there. It was just a glut of humanity. It was not necessarily jiving with my lifestyle, and out I went. But played Mel Reese quite a bit. Got to know Charlie DeLuca because it wasn't uncommon for him to be announcing or unveiling some innovative thing when it came to giving golf, the opportunity to play golf to underprivileged kids, this, that, and the other thing. Really a terrific family. So Gurggles now working there in Miami Lakes, what used to be Shula's Golf Club. And they moved. They're redoing and renovating a lot of what was there for many, many years and probably could use a little sprucing up. In the process, though, they fucked up his internet. Gurggles himself doesn't have internet. Gurggles, I'm amazed he even has a cell phone. Does he have a cell phone, Gurggles, at this stage? I guess he does.
Yes, he does have a cell phone.
Boy, he is reluctant to join, modern technology and fuse it into his life. He still doesn't have cable TV. It's weird when you're asking a guy what he's watching and he tells you, I've seen this one 6 times, but this episode of Hogan's Heroes is unbelievable. The drama, the laughter. So anyway, we've been unable to connect with him, but I think we're going to be able to do it today. What do you think, Lubie? How optimistic are you? Did you do any tests? I mean,
he did tests.
Far be it from us to, test it out in advance.
And we've tested five.
What was that? I missed you.
We've tested it 5 times. I mean, there's nothing else for me to do at this point. Hopefully, it works.
Okay.
I'm just crossing my
I was
fingers.
thinking as you were free up there, we might want to test this connection a couple of times.
Yeah, you're in
Hopefully,
this-
it's not me. Don't let it be me. Don't let it be me, people. Don't let it be me. All right, so we'll have the trivia challenge. That'll come your way somewhere around 8:30 this morning. The number to call is still the same, I believe, if I can remember it. It's been so long. 954-417-0070. 954-417-00, as in the big O, 70. And you'll be able to connect with us, and that'll be great. All right, many things happening. Michigan is a term that we toss around, and we don't throw it around lightly, Lubie. We do not. But you had to ask yourself, it's kind of an interesting question. If you were looking at the signs, I don't know that these were necessarily coming from the gods of gambling. I think it was just that logic might have dictated that if you were looking at last night's game between the Houston Astros and the Texas Rangers. Now I know you can say, oh, yeah, well, it's easy for you now, Defo. Where were you on this yesterday? But we did suggest, Lubie, that it might be worth taking a sniff, just a small sniff there. I'm not talking about one of those sniffs. I'm talking about, right? Yeah. Like you want to clear your nose. Take a sniff, a small sniff on the Houston Astros to bounce back. They were down 2-0 to the Texas Rangers in games, but you know what kind of was lost on me. I kept thinking for some reason that this was 3 out of 5, but they've escalated it now. These last 2 series are 4 of 7.
Yes.
So, okay, still never a very favorable circumstance to be down 2-0, especially since you lost those first 2 games on your home field. And therefore have lost home field advantage. Not only home field advantage, but you're at a distinct disadvantage because if you lose one more game, guess what? You're 1 game away from a lima fucking nation.
Yep.
So why would anybody of sound mind and body, I mean, maybe you have to issue this disclaimer and actually write it out. Why would anybody at that stage say, hey, you know what? I'll take 4-1. The Houston Astros had to be favored going into the series. I mean, they were the better team during the regular season, albeit by a narrow margin. They've now been to the the league championship series 7 consecutive years after that series of seasons where they were losing over 100 games 3 years in a row with some of the same people on the roster. But they've been together a long time. They've been through a lot. They have the so-called playoff experience, which you would think would amount to something. They seem to be better prepared, to throw starting pitchers of some level of competence and quality out on the mound than the Texas Rangers were, although the Rangers' top 2 guys were doing quite well. So they lose the first 2 games. Would it have been practical? Would it have been pragmatic? Would it have been logical, Lubie, to take the slightest sniff on the Astros to bounce back, now having to win 4 out of 5 and win the series at 4-1? You're getting 4-1 on a team that, by all rights, should be favored, no? And what do they essentially have to do? I mean, at the very least, you would have to say that last night was a what? A pivotal game 3.
Oh, yes, very pivotal.
I'm on a swivel here, man. I'm pivoting so much. All right, could you pivot your thought process to you had the top of the order where it was slumping badly. Altuve was reduced to looking like Skylo Low coming up there with a bat. Man. I mean, you didn't know if you were at a baseball game or some carnival midget wrestling matchup. And they're doing nothing. I mean, just waving at pitches and striking out. I think he might have had 1 hit in the series, something like that. It was awful. Tucker was also off to a real poor start. The only guy that was hitting for Houston was Alvarez, who's been dynamite throughout the postseason. And what a monster this guy is coming up to the plate. And yet, doesn't it seem like Willie Stargell is coming up to hit when Alvarez grabs the bat? I mean, it's like, whoa, how are they going to get this guy out? Well, how far is he going to hit this ball? But it would have been logical. No, Lubie, I mean, it would have been worth it. You're thinking, okay, pivotal game 3. Max Scherzer, who hadn't pitched in a month, who also has his share of Kershaw-like misadventures in the postseason. I believe his record postseason lifetime was 7-7. He had thrown many great pitches, but, he also was inclined to serve up those Moderano meatballs, no? Hey, Steve, these are great. Best in the city. No question about it. Right? Who designed your meatball mold? Don Carter? I mean, they're the size of bowling balls. They're fantastic. And Scherzer's been known to cough up a few, and he got touched up. He went into the fifth inning last night, but through four, he had already given up 5 runs, Max Scherzer. So could you have used this logic and extrapolated a plan to go ahead and say, you know what, Lubie? It's worth it to unload maybe a stick on the Houston Astros down 2-0 at 4-1 odds to come back and win the series.
Yeah, I guess. I thought
it's easier to make a case for it today than it was yesterday. That's for sure.
I thought the Rangers were going to just finish it. I thought they'd win, go up 3-0, maybe lose like a game 4, but win this series going away. Like I thought that Rangers were going to just roll through last night. Like I was dead wrong.
Rangers were hot. I was very suspicious about Scherzer's capabilities coming off the long layoff, and as we said, I mean, postseason has not exactly been stellar for Max Scherzer. He's had his good moments, but he's had many bad ones, and last night was not necessarily one of the positive ones. All right, so are you feeling a lot better about it today? I would think yes, right? Absolutely. I mean, if you had to, now you're not getting that 4-1 anymore because it came back and won a game. 8-5 was the final. The Astros were essentially in control from the outset. They did give up a couple of 2-run home runs in the game, but they took a no-hitter into the 5th inning with, who was that? Javier that was pitching? Yeah, Javier with 5 2/3. This guy in the postseason is, as good as anybody. In terms of getting 6 innings of just unbelievable quality work. I think he had given up like 3 hits or something in his last 3 or 4 postseason starts. He's been unbelievable. So Javier goes 5 2/3. He takes a no-hitter into the 5th inning. He finally gives up a base hit, and then a home run follows. So it was 5-2 when he left the ball game. They bring in this guy. His last name starts with a B. What is it? Is it the Houston reliever? He's horrible. He's always coughing up gopher balls. And he gave up a 2-run home run as well. The guy that came in and replaced Javier. But Astros pretty much held him at bay the entire time. They kept him off of him with the jab. And
Mr. Neris.
Yeah, that's it. Not B. That would be. It's an N. Neris.
Neris. I don't know, Neris.
He's horrendous, huh? Well, he looks like a Marlin reliever from a couple of years ago. Where you would bring in a guy in the 6th inning, game's already 7-0 out of hand, and it becomes 13-0 before he gets a single out. That kind of guy. Neris. I don't know how Dusty Baker has a lot of faith in that guy, but nonetheless, he comes in, and it wasn't enough for the Texas Rangers to bounce back. I was trying to look up. I couldn't find it, though. Sometimes Google, leads you down some very sordid and empty paths, does it not? Because I'm thinking that 7-game winning streak that the Rangers had in the postseason leading into last night's game, I'm thinking that was probably their longest winning streak of the season. What do you think, Libby?
Yeah, maybe.
Is that possible? I couldn't confirm that. I tried to look it up, but I couldn't find whether they had won 7 in a row at any time during the regular season, the Texas Rangers. Yet, I mean, on fire, and you really had to have, some balls to go against them in the series, and it remains to be seen. I mean, if the Rangers win tonight, then all of a sudden they're in a commanding position, and every game not only becomes pivotal for the Astros, but becomes an elimination game at that stage.
Yep.
So still a large mountain to climb, but if the Astros pull even in the series and win this game tonight, which they're, sort of in a favorable position, I would think, from the pitching standpoint, Urquidy is going to go for the Houston Astros tonight. He's not bad, right? And we don't know too much about the Texas starter, Haney. Is it Haney? I think it is. I can't read my own writing here, but it looks like Haney. Mr. Haney there from, what was that, from the Gomer Pyle show? No, he was, it was on Green Acres, Mr. Haney. Remember Mr. Haney? The guy was like the
I don't know Green Acres. Yeah. You're going deep now. I don't know.
I think I'm living in Green Acres right now. Anyway, so that would have taken some guts. I don't know. Did anybody do it? Anybody? We teased the idea of maybe taking a look at that, and it looks a lot better today. It's a much rosier picture today than it was yesterday. And then, of course, you have the resumption of the Philadelphia-Arizona series, with Philadelphia dominating that series so far, 10-0 in the last ball game. They moved to Arizona for this game 3, and the Phillies will toss Suarez out there on the mound against, how do you pronounce this guy's name? It isn't Fat, is it? Pfaadt?
I think it's Fat. I don't know how else you would pronounce it.
I thought I heard one of the announcers actually say the guy's name, and it wasn't anything like that. It was like it sounded completely different to me. Fat would be the thing, right? I mean, can you get fat off of fat? You would think so.
What else would it be?
That's what it looks like to me, right?
Pad? Like, how is it pad? Like, that would be fucking weird.
Well, you got the whole Randy Fund thing going there, Pafund.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So
saying.
you're thinking the P is silent.
Yeah, ignore the P.
Yeah, some kind of bizarre pronunciation here. But
oh my God, is that the guy Andrew Heaney? He's a Marlins. He was a legendary Marlins prospect. I forgot who they threw him into the Angels for one of their trades.
One of their stiffs, yeah. Very nice.
Yeah, he turned out to be decent. Of course.
All right. Well, anyway, so that's where we stand with baseball. You could have gotten a little bit of a thrill if you went ahead and unloaded on the Astros at 4-1 after dropping the first two games. Phillies appear to be cruising against the Arizona Diamondbacks. We love the Diamondbacks in this spot because they're 50-1. But we talked about it yesterday at great length. It's so hard to boot home these 50-1 shots. I remember when I saw that horse with the bowed neck that would have been impossible. Thank God I didn't look in the racing form before I made that wager. I was in Atlantic City, I want to say about a year or so ago. And I'm betting that I was restricted there. It was one of the off days. And I'm betting all the shitty tracks, right? So this horse was running, I believe, at Laurel. And I'm looking on the track, and it was a lousy day weather-wise, and I see this horse, and he looks magnificent. And I thought, wow, who's that? He was a number 4. I do remember that. And sure enough, 20-1 on the board. I thought, man, you know what? Well, let me pull a Jersey Kyle here. I'm going to wheel this horse and exact his daily doubles and put 20 to win on the horse. 20-1. They continue to warm-ups, and the horse continues to look sensational. And then I happen to, after I'd already placed the bet, and they're about to go in the gate, I glance at a racing form, and I realize, my fucking God, nobody in their right mind could bet this horse. He had drifted up to over 50-1, and he hadn't run in 2 years. And when he was running 2 years prior, he was running straight to the glue factory. I mean, this was the slowest horse in the history of thoroughbred racing. There was absolutely no reason whatsoever that you should ever wager 1 red cent on this pony, except for the fact that somehow he looked sensational on the track. And you would have to say, even though he was 20-1 at the time, like 10 minutes to post, that represented some form of early money, maybe some stable money going in on this nag. And it was a life and death struggle all the way around. I mean, the stretch run it seemed to take forever. And by the time they got to the end of the stretch, booting home this 50-1 shot, who did eventually win by a nose, I was exhausted, Lubie. I'm surprised I wasn't immediately taken away in some kind of jacket that ties in the back. It was exhausting to boot this thing home. So pretty rough to get the 50-1 shot home. I don't know that we're going to be able to do it with Arizona. That doesn't appear to be an imminent circumstance, does it? That we're going to be cashing a ticket at 50-1 on the Arizona Diamondbacks, down 2-0 to the Philadelphia Phillies, who, like the Rangers, though, are on fire at this stage. So what does that mean, Libby? Would you be willing to take a shot with Arizona tonight? They seem to be, of the 4 teams that are left in the competition for the World Series championship, they seem to be the one that is most definitively dead in the water, no?
Feels like the Phillies are on fire, but again, the Rangers were too. And the Phillies are throwing out their schmink pitcher tonight in this game. So maybe all 4
Phillies are slight favorites tonight. 135 to win 100 on them.
To get here. Well, the Astros sort of struggled, but the other 3 had coasted to get here. And then in this series, you had the Rangers and the Phillies sort of rising to the top. But look, the Rangers stumbled yesterday. The Diamondbacks had been like the team of destiny, it felt like to me, getting into the LCS. So maybe they have one last gasp. I don't know. The Phillies, I just watched them, and it's like they just sort of are just fucking methodical, and it's annoying.
Oh, my God. They're hitting so many home runs, though. That's the thing. I mean, if the home run is the deciding factor in baseball these days, the Phillies are just dominating in that category. They've been unbelievable so far. All right, there was a lot of steam about this whole Kim Eng thing. I mean, it seems like the story has finally been, told that, and I believe these to be the facts, that the big issue there was that for some reason, Bruce Sherman wanted to have somebody with more authority making decisions over Kim Ng, which, if you were Kim Ng, the general manager of the Marlins, and you had just had a very successful season, which not all of it is good, Lubie, as is the case
No,
with
it's not.
any general manager.
Yeah.
I mean, this gets back to the the characterization they always have when they put these little catchphrases after horses. I've mentioned this a few times. My favorite was always, and they would put it next to some 30-1 shot. It was picked to run next to last, and it would say, "Must make no mistakes."
Yep.
And that's essentially the case here with the Marlins. I mean, it's not like they have no margin for error. They probably can miss on a player or two here and there, but in general, it's must make no mistakes. So if that's going to be what decides your fate, the outcome of a situation where you really are limited in what you can do, you would think if you were Kim Ng or anybody in that position that you would ultimately want to be the final decision maker. No,
Well, look, and I love Dave Hyde, and I get what he's saying, but again, we keep hearing build through the minors, and no one's getting it right. Yeah, obviously, to keep drafting and draft nobodies when you're an organization that you're lucky to be top 20 in payroll isn't going to work. But why? Like, it's weird to go 10 months later, but like heading into this season, 8 months ago, I was a Kim Ng detractor. I admit it, but for what the move she made last year, she went more than 50-50 because Soler turned out to be something. I think she made a couple other moves that worked. Yeah,
Soler was a key guy for them this year. No
Garcia was
question.
a disaster. Hey, Beth. Nice to see you. The one really lovely Beth Bernstein.
Beth Bernstein is with us. Wow, how you feeling, Beth? How the ribs? Are you gonna? I mean, the social scene in South Florida has been badly deflated and depleted with Beth Bernstein on injured reserve. Come on.
I hope you feel better, Beth.
The woman is ageless, also. That's the other beautiful thing
She
about Beth.
hasn't
I
aged
mean,
at all.
I was thinking about it the other day. She looks the same as she did when I met her, and that was like 30 years ago when I was working at 560.
When I met her, when I first started doing stuff with you, and that was like 15, it was like 13 years ago.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it hasn't changed.
So anyways.
Well, what was she doing driving a bicycle off a cliff, though? I mean, that was, talk about daredevil, man. I wouldn't have tried it, Beth. I mean, I know they told you the parachute was good. You can't believe some schmuck that's breathing that rarefied air in Colorado. What are you talking about, man?
Well, good for her. She's
been getting high on peyote buttons since birth.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. All right, but nice to have you on board, Beth. Good to have you out there.
And you're getting better.
Yeah.
And yes, I see you, and you see.
Oh, Gurggles! Wow.
That we finally have a two-way communication going.
All right, what were you saying there?
So wrap this up, and then we'll get Gurggles on. I was as hard on her as anyone, and she didn't bat 1,000. But even Soler, which looked like a bust, ended up working out. He was a key cog in this. Then her moves, the offseason, going and trading a solid pitcher for a rise, worked out like gangbusters. Then at the deadline, she goes for it, which is rare for the Marlins, and she hits on almost every move. The Robertson was the one that couldn't, and everyone would have thought Robertson would have worked. Like, no one's going to blame her for Robertson not forgetting how to fucking pitch.
That was bizarre.
Everything she did worked to as much as you can account for. Like, she was almost at a 60 to 70% hit rate, which for a GM is utterly.
And her last few shots were good ones.
Yeah, and they made the playoffs in a year that no one thought they would. Like, her manager,
whatever influence she had to on Skip Schumacher.
Her manager hire, she hired him. Her manager hire was a home run. Like, she did everything you could ask her to do. Yeah, Dave Hyde yesterday said, well, the draft, but she didn't draft. Like, it was Jeter who was doing Jeter and the guy that Jeter brought over from the Yankees, who was this fucking amazing guy.
Gary Denbo, yeah.
Denbo did the drafts. Like, she literally, this was the first year, and she hit 70%. Like, what are you doing? Like, fine, bring someone to help her out. But like, what do you like? It's so Marlins. It's so Marlins to get in your own fucking way, and it's really annoying.
Yeah, you know what, Lubie, it's interesting. I did a little research on that very topic.
Look at you. I'm so proud of you.
I happened to fall upon an article here that outlined the whole situation. They were talking about it, and they were saying that this is one of the issues with Kim Ng's tenure there, and her defenders, would naturally, be outraged that this was all on her, and the people that are defending the Marlins organization, which I did see a couple of comments from people inside the organization that we happen to know and love. And they were saying, well, you know what? This happens in baseball. I mean, you should kind of spare us all of the indignities that you're throwing our way and the unflattering comments about what a loser organization we are, because this happens. And it was just circumstances that dictated her departure more so than
Has been average at
stupidity.
best for a decade and kept his job. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's such a Marlins answer. Yeah, we
Yeah.
did a dumbass thing, and we're gonna pretend like we didn't do a dumbass thing. So just leave us off the hook, even though we've done dumbass shit for 25 years.
Same old story, yeah. It's the same old song, just a different owner who is also broke.
Exactly.
Um, well, okay, so this is what they did in the draft the last 5 years. They drafted a guy, Jacob Berry. Too soon to tell, but so far nothing too outrageous from this guy in terms of success. Hit 233 mostly in single A and double A baseball. High double A or whatever that is. High A. Is there a high A? What is it? APIO high A. What is that?
Double
High
A.
A.
Boy, I don't know if there's
How low is single A if you're in high A and you're still
low.
playing in like fucking Jupiter? I mean, give me a break. That's a distinction I struggle with, even being a sports fan my entire 72 years of life. Khalil Watson, this was the guy that was like lightning fast. He was going to be another Jazz Chisholm type. Had all kinds of skills, a 5-tool player supposedly. But he was part of the trade to acquire Josh Bell.
Yep.
Which I don't know. Was he doing anything? I didn't hear anything so
He wasn't
sensational.
playing
Like,
well,
wow.
supposedly he was floundering in the minors, and then you traded him away already.
Okay. All right. Max Meyer had Tommy John after showing some promise. So there's another Albusteroni so far, and, where you literally got nothing for it. J.J. Bleday
Yep.
was traded for A.J. Puck, who was influential for the most part on a positive note for the Marlins this year. I mean, he did an adequate job, a good job actually as a closer early in the season before falling apart and losing that role. Then, after that, he did come back and actually distinguish himself pretty well later in the season. He was a functional one-inning guy coming in the 6th or 7th inning, and always going to be tough on left-handers with that sweeper of emotion that he has. But anyway, so they turned Bleday into something positive, but maybe a short-term
He sucked.
proposition. Whereas if you're drafting a guy in the first round very highly, like they did with J.J. Bleday, weren't they telling us, "Oh my God, this guy is going to be sensational"?
Yes, he was supposed to be one of the big bats that they were counting in the future.
Yeah.
But he
was Bryce Harper. I mean, all over again. No, I mean, this guy was going to be sensational. Left-handed power bat.
Yes.
Nothing.
But she didn't draft him. Like, I don't think Kamang was a part of any of these drafts.
Yeah.
Like, that's my problem. They're all failures.
And they drafted a guy named Connor Scott going back like 5 years ago.
I don't know where he is.
They used him to acquire Jacob Stallings, who, while an outstanding defensive catcher and somewhat influential, I guess, on these young arms, and seems like a real quality individual. The guy can't hit his weight.
He sucks.
To have a power position like catcher, I know a lot of teams have defensive oriented catchers that, you're just hoping that they hit 220. But we have 2 of them right now. With what is it? Fonts is the other catcher,
the guy,
and he was a draft pick of the Marlins, who at least made it to the major league roster. I don't know that he sucks, but
he's not an everyday starter, let alone good.
it's too soon to tell. Would you say? I mean, holy Johnny Cochran, how long is the jury going to be out here? What? They're back already?
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't you think OJ was going to fry?
Yes,
Well, when the jury came back in like 5 minutes, you thought, well, there's only one logical conclusion, Mr. Fung. This fucker did it. Unbelievable.
Oh, Lord.
All right, so there you go. There you have it, as Gordon Sully would say. Last 5 draft picks, first-round draft picks, not number 1 overall, but close to it in some cases. And you got 0.0. Well, you could say that you had some gains. Certainly, Bell was instrumental in whatever success they had in the second half of the season. It's Max Meyer. You don't know. Can he come back from Tommy John? That's possible. I mean, lots of people have and had success. Bleday for Puck, kind of like throwing in the towel on Bleday. I mean, you don't get an A.J. Puck.
That's what I'm saying.
Or a guy that's going to be the next Mickey Mantle. That's for sure.
Getting draft picks like a Watson in the top 15, top 10 that many thought was a top 3 pick.
Yeah.
Getting Bleday, guys that are supposed to be core pieces and having to trade them away within 3 years of drafting them. That's bad.
Such ugliness. Yeah. Such ugliness. Yeah. I mean, and here's the other side of the coin here, and this was also on Kim Ng. Josh Bell is eligible to be a free agent, I think, this year.
Yes.
Okay, so he could walk. He's scheduled to make $16 million plus in payroll. Their payroll is supposedly going to escalate to like 107 million if they just stay put with what they have. They don't do anything because of the escalation of salaries, either contractually or through arbitration. That's the projection. Okay, so that's high for the Marlins to have $107 million payroll. But of that $107 million, Avisail Garcia has taken up 12 million of it to be a stiff.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Sandri Alcantara is taking up 9 million of it, and he's not going to be able to play.
Yep.
So, I mean, you can't pin the injury on Kim Ng, but certainly Avisail Garcia. I mean, can you loosen this noose? It's fucking Gary Gilmore. I mean, just take me out and shoot me. That's what it should be. Well, and is there any possibility that that's one of those ones where you hope beyond hope that somehow this guy straightens himself out? Is that even remotely possible that Avisail Garcia? Soler looked like a stiff, and then he comes back and hits 35 home runs this year, and he was hitting a lot of big home runs in those one-run games, especially early in the season. I mean, he was a huge factor in what success they had in those spots. So, you would have written him off also. Avisail Garcia, he didn't show any signs of life, though, did he, Lubie? Like nothing.
Oh, he sucked. Like that's the thing. Soler, we gave a lot of crap to, but he at least mashed the ball. Like he became a bopper that they needed. Garcia did nothing. Garcia is literally useless. Like that was a horrendous move. But again, most GMs make bad moves. It's the fact that most of her moves worked.
Yeah. And
again, the draft picks, I don't think she was involved in any of those drafts. Like Watson, I think she was here for, but I don't think it was her pick. Like
after this year, though, you would have wanted her to be a part of the decision-making process in the organization. I think that's where it lies, and you would be hard pressed to think it's kind of like when I was working for Steve Lappa, right? This was a guy in radio that was the dumbest smart guy I ever worked for in my life. I mean, he really knew what he was talking about, and at the same time would make the dumbest fucking decisions, And then he would decide that all of a sudden you needed a partner, and you're like, nah, I don't need this guy. I mean, the guy's he's never been in this business. So why all of a sudden he was fascinated with guys that wrote for the newspaper, which many of them are very good on broadcasts, especially as guests. Not all of them have been successful. Yeah, transitioning into being hosts.
They're not hosts.
It's a different game. I mean, it really is. It doesn't hurt to have a little bit of experience doing this stuff.
Yeah, it's good. Let them be a guy, a guest, then maybe a co-host. Over time, like they thrust them in. It's like, okay.
Yeah, right. All of a sudden, that guy's like, guiding the show, and your head is like hitting the microphone. Saying, I don't give a shit what Jason Taylor had for breakfast today. I really don't.
No.
I'm not into examining. Maybe it's a fault of ours that we just don't delve into that level of minutia when it comes to this sort of stuff, right? I mean, that's something for, like we were saying with Jim Sarney and the Sarney Scrolls. I mean, there's certain things that in a newspaper or some kind of online article that they make perfect sense. Yeah, I'm glad you made this allusion, right?
Yes.
Sarney's probably screaming. We've been on the air for 33 minutes. I haven't mentioned the Las Vegas Aces winning the WNBA championship last night by taking out the Liberty Hoop.
I had no idea that was happening. No knowledge.
I watched some of that. You know what I like? I tell you what I like at ball games. I like Fat Joe as a basketball fan, and I couldn't name you a single Fat Joe song. I remember he had one hit, as far as I know, and it wasn't a particularly great rap song, was it? I don't want to say anything negative about Fat Joe because I'm a fan of the guy now. I really am. Only because he's present in all these basketball games. And he seems to really be into it. I mean, he was wrapped up in this New York Liberty team last night. They had him on as a halftime guest. I caught a little of it, and I would have to say that as lovely as the ladies were that were on the dais analyzing this WNBA game, a 4-person panel discussion about the first half of a WNBA game is not necessarily something that I'm inclined to stay with. I mean, I'd much rather at that point just, go to the porn sites and, take my chances there. All right, we have to get into the game now. There he is. Look at this gentleman. Unbelievable.
You're rambling about WNBA.
Dave Gurggles Gergely, ladies and gentlemen. Are you moving, Dave? I guess you are. Oh, we don't have a sound. Well, we need some sound.
Only kidding. Only kidding.
Oh,
only kidding.
Nice.
Only kidding.
You got me. You got
No,
me.
what you see
You look
behind
good.
me are all the donations that we have coming in for a big tournament for St. Jude's on
Nice.
October 30th. Yeah, it's our 20th anniversary. It's a tournament. Our greenskeeper's son was a patient since birth, I think. No, since he was 5 years old. He's now 25. And the doctor from St. Jude's actually shows up. So these are probably some of the giveaways we'll have. And my office seems to be the storage. But I do have a window just to the other side, and I can actually see out of this. We're in the double wide trailers right now. Today I've got a Larry Little's jersey on because I got a meeting with Larry Little and the guys for their tournament here December 2nd.
Oh,
But
beautiful.
nice to be back with you guys. Supposedly everything is fixed and we're ready to roll.
Look good.
I have to congratulate you, Gurggles. I knew you would be brilliant in this role. I didn't realize how brilliant you would be when you were emceeing. What a marvelous job you did, and what a great time we had at that footy charity event. What was that? That was like just a little over a week ago, and what
Yeah.
a great turnout they had for this thing.
It was Tuesday, October 10th, and they're renaming Here's Help, the building for John Footy Cross, and what a delightful turnout. You're exactly right. Everybody was there. Good to
Wow.
see Steve Shapiro again. You know,
Shouldn't Shappy? I said this to Beth Bernstein, who's tuned in. Should he not be the Golden Bachelor?
Well,
Does he
he'd be
not look the
good.
part? I mean, come on, this guy is. I mean, as handsome as ever, and
Yep.
tan, relaxed. I asked him what he was
Hey.
doing. He said, "I'm doing absolutely nothing."
Good and really, really good guy. Very entertaining on the airwaves for
Yeah.
the longevity. I would have thought him and Bernstein would have made a great couple.
Well, that may have happened, or
I'll stay out of that. I'll stay
Yeah.
out of that.
Yeah, you never know.
sometimes you're thinking two good friends of yours would be a great match, and it just doesn't work out from the dynamics of a relationship, whatever they are. But no, Shapiro looked great. A lot of former Dolphin players. I mean, and what's interesting to me, these guys from like the early '80s, even guys like Ed Newman.
Yep.
They look better than they did when they played.
Yeah, and the judge plays here 3 times a week.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah.
really,
I mean,
he's out there
he's
playing golf,
trimmed
and he
down.
does look fit.
You would
Yep.
never know that this guy was an NFL player. I mean, if you looked at him today, and certainly if you saw his recent resume, you would figure probably not. Seeing as he was a judge in Dade County for the longest of time, and almost pretty much since he retired. I guess he was always an attorney. I remember going to his office one time. I was doing an interview with Newman, and had me in his office, and he had on the wall a frame that his original contract with the Dolphins was for $15,000 a year.
No
And
kidding.
he told me, he said, I really had, and I guess a lot of people had to take this into consideration because he said I had to decide whether to just get a regular job or play football. That he was pursuing his law degree, and he thought, wow, I'd probably be better off if I didn't play. But I mean, eventually, I guess he probably made some money in the game. But wow, I mean, this is years later, and he looks terrific. And then the speeches, what were I thought, of course, the lovely and talented one was there, Leslie Visser, and she always lights up the room whenever she's a part of any of these kind of proceedings. And then Ron Hersey and John Offerdahl, very very moving speeches.
Yes.
They gave
Yes.
a great job of public speaking by both of those guys.
And how about Footy's brother, Walter?
Oh yeah, Footy's brother, yeah.
Yeah, the airline pilot and Air Force guy. He was terrific with a great sense of humor. It was just a real fine event. And of course, we got to thank our buddy for organizing the whole thing, Frank Fiore.
Frank
who,
Fiore, great job. Yeah,
Just did a terrific job.
unbelievable.
And,
Yeah.
rumor has it he's moving on to some greener pastures too.
You know what? I wasn't sure. What could be revealed about that, but
But I don't know. I don't know
Nobody
anything for
more
sure. And I'm not,
deserving. Yeah.
I will say nothing more. Yep.
You know what? I mean, there's nobody better at organizing these kind of things either. I mean, I wish he'd been around to organize my bar mitzvah. It would have gone a lot more smoothly than the helter-skelter way in which it was
Yeah,
conducted.
but I mean, you organized your 70th birthday. That could not have been a better party than that one was.
I didn't, that was all in the Mustang. I had very little to do with it except showing up. But and you were brilliant there too, Gurgle. So nice
We
job.
had fun. We had a lot of fun.
To applaud you and the versatility of the Dave Gurggles Gergely. If you need an MC for any event, this is the man. And those were your own jokes, which was great. You
we
could
had a little
see,
fun.
a lot of people might have consulted some, joke book of some sort, but you came up with the goods, and yet it wasn't over the top, where you were saying, "Come on, Gurggles, enough already." It was absolutely well done all the way through. Very professional job. All right, you ready for the trivia challenge? We're going to get into it in just a sec here. We'll line up some players. 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070. If you want to play the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge here with Dave Gurggles Gergely as the Master of Ceremonies, which, as we said, he did a brilliant job in that very same capacity. A little bit of a different role, but the same sort of capacity, emceeing the John Footy Cross dedication there as... my GPS device, though, took me through some real back ways there. I ended up at that Chinese restaurant that sells the bucket of fried rice somehow in Hialeah, and I was like, what am I doing here? It just guided me to just bizarre portions of town before I finally got there. And I went on roads that I didn't even know existed in South Florida, and I've lived here 40 years. State Road 9? I didn't know that was University Drive.
University Drive.
We got a little freeze-up situation, but we'll come back and hopefully correct that and have the trivia challenge in a moment. Now that
The time.
the Gurggles is frozen, Lubie?
It's Gurggles.
8:41. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
Ric Flair, the world's heavyweight champion. I don't have to say a lot more about the way I feel about Ric Flair. No respect, no honor. There is no honor among thieves. He put hard times on Dusty Rhodes and his family. Daddy.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on The Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. Okay, we're working on a couple of technical issues there. Dave Gurggles Gergely froze up on us just at the moment of truth. All right, he looked like those Houston Bats in the first couple of games. He took that pitch right down the middle of the plate. I mean, it sawed the plate in half, belt high. 89 miles an hour. I mean, holy Randy Jones, what are we talking about here? You should be able to smack that thing into the left field seats there at, what was it? What is the orange juice thing? Tropicana Field. Yeah.
Tropicana Field is the Devil Rays, I think, or the Rays. Minute Maid was always the Houston Astros.
Oh, Minute Maid. Yeah, I know it was some kind of orange juice.
He's here hit now.
It looks better. I mean, we've unlocked the key to Dave Gurggles Gergely, I believe. How you doing, Gurgs? You back with us? You okay?
I hope so. Yeah. I just
You're
did
in
what
one
every
piece.
Male does, turn it off and turn it back on and see if it works. So
Unplug it and plug it right back in. It's like dating your ex. Unbelievable. All right, we're ready then for the trivia challenge. We'll get into it before we freeze up again. And We invite your telephone calls at 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070. And you guys know the way the game works. Gurgle's going to fire up some questions, and you can go ahead and jump in. And the 2 high point totals at the end of the competition, the regular season, so to speak, will square off in the championship round, and we will crown a champion, give away a Landlubber's gift certificate courtesy of one Mike Lubie Lubitz, who, wow, these weeks fly by, Lubie. You're already back
Yes.
at Landlubbers tonight?
Yes. I will be there this evening at 6:30 with the legendary professor.
Now, is the public invited? Is new players welcome? How does this work?
Yeah, we love it. Gurgs did a great job in my stead. Thank God he has a life, or I would have lost a job. And we do it every week. We get great crowds, and the weather's been glorious. So hopefully people take full advantage and come out. We'd love to have you tonight, 6:30 Landlubbers.
I told you, Gurgles, I mean, if you saw this footy thing, a monster.
He's a legend, obviously.
A monster.
Compared to Gurgles. But he thank goodness he enjoys the life he lives and doesn't want to go to Landlubbers every week, or I'd be fucked.
I like that when he used to, just ride everybody, when he was emceeing all of those events at Shula's Steak too. And he knew just how to put the needle into just about every customer.
That's my favorite.
Hey, buddy, nice hat. The guy's wearing some stupid looking hat. He just had the right touch, Gurgles. He always did. All right, let's get to it, Gurgles. I know you have to get going here because you got all those boxes you have to unpack. So here we go. The Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge gets underway. And why don't we start it in the traditional fashion, somewhat traditional, with Dave Gurggles Gergely in place of the Polyman and some
Easy baseball. This Yankee legend, following a game in which 2 streakers ran across the field, was asked by reporters if they were male or female. His response was, "How should I know? They had bags over their heads." What's that? The one and only Yogi Berra, Ruben Sierra, High Sierra, or Pancho Herrera?
All right, spin the random phone scrambler. See if that works. Might need a little bit of 3-in-1 oil there, Lubie, but nonetheless, the Chronic is all set to go. Welcome to Chronic. How are you, my friend?
How you doing, guys?
Good morning, fellas. How are you?
Good morning, Chris.
I'm good. How you doing, guys? Gurgles coming down tonight?
There's a possibility. I may show up today because I want to hope keep you guys from winning.
Very nice. All right, you have 1 point, Lenny, and you are in the game.
Football, Lenny, true or false? Lions coach Dan Campbell couldn't decide on who on the defensive side to give the game ball to after holding the Bucs to just 6 points. So he gave one ball to everyone on the defense. True or false?
Yeah, sounds like something we do. True.
No, made that up, huh?
He gave one to Goff, and he gave one to the punter, Jack Cox.
Oh.
I thought he would be more likely to eat the ball in front of the rest of the team. Yeah. All right, one going for 4 here, Lenny. Not uncommon that you would be in this position after missing the true false.
All right, Lenny, NASCAR. 29-year-old NASCAR driver Austin Dillon had a promising career in another sport before NASCAR. What was it? Baseball, football, soccer, or golf?
Let's go with soccer.
Soccer.
No, he was a member of the North Carolina Little League baseball team in the 2002 Little League World Series.
Oh, wow.
Lenny, you're shooting for 6 points to try and stay alive in this game.
All right, Lenny, let's see if you can get a baseball question for real. On Monday, Bryce Harper became only the 4th player to hit a postseason home run on his birthday. Which of the following was not one of the other 3 to do so?
All right.
Was not.
Tough.
Jimmy Rollins, Willie Mays Aikens, Ivan Lagoria, or Colton Wong?
Oh, God.
What was the first one?
Jimmy Rollins.
The former Philly.
Jimmy Rollins. I'll go with Jimmy Rollins.
Jimmy Rollins is correct. Nice
Jimmy
job.
Rollins did not achieve that. Well done, Lenny.
6.
Made a nice save.
Wow. Skate save and a beauty there by Lenny. Gets the 5-point question correct. Assuming that Gurgles probably threw a former Philadelphia Philly great onto the list in honor of his Philadelphia Phillies, who are on fire, Gurgles. on
Yes.
fire. I mean, is this the year that they go all the way? What do you think? It looks like
It could be. I
team of
grew as you
destiny.
grew up a diehard Mets fan. I grew up a diehard Phillies fan.
Yeah.
And in the summer of '64, I kept a scrapbook, and there was an article in August saying 102-year-old man in Lansdale, Pennsylvania, to finally get his wish, Phillies to win pennant. And that's when they were up 6.5 with 10 to go and blew it, and the Cardinals won that year. So yeah, I'm a diehard Phillies fan. Although this Sunday, I've got a mixed dichotomy. I'll be at the Vinoy Renaissance Hotel up in beautiful St. Pete, and I'll be watching the game. And I think I'm going to actually root for the Dolphins to beat the Eagles.
Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah,
No.
Eagles. You're like
you're turning your back on your your native
worked with the Dolphins.
Pennsylvania roots.
He worked.
I've been here in South Florida almost as long as I've been in Pennsylvania now. Actually, longer. I've been in South Florida 40 years now, and I was in Pennsylvania for 30. So I'm rooting for the Dolphins.
Yeah, but it was the 30 years that you were there were your youth, my friend. That's when all of these attachments were formulated, and they're hard to detach yourself from. What on earth are you doing in St. Petersburg, my friend?
Actually, last year's Corey for St. Jude's tournament, one of the silent auction items was a 3-day, 2-night stay at the 200-year-old beautiful Vinoy Renaissance Hotel. And the greenskeeper and the pro, for all the work I did, bought that for me.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
And it expires October 30th, so the timing is absolutely
better
perfect.
Get up there.
Yeah, I'm going up Saturday morning, and I'll come back Monday.
Nice.
I may make a side trip to Tampa Bay Downs to bet a little Keeneland.
I would think.
And,
Oldsmar, Florida is the date line on that. Oldsmar.
I know exactly where it is. Yeah.
Spent many an entertaining afternoon there.
That's
all
right.
Continuation of the game here. We had Chronic, show you what clutch is all about there. I mean, you talk about making the big play at the moment of truth there. Gets the 5-point question correct and now has 6. He's in the lead. Here's our next set of questions with Dave Gurggles Gergely.
Golf. This PGA golfer, when asked if he knew how to read any uphill putts, said, yeah, I read each of those uphill putts right after I miss my downhill putt. What's that? Homero Blancas, Homer Simpson, Dwayne Shinsis, or Dwayne Hickman?
Greatest mullet ever, man. Dwayne Shinsis. All right, here's the Random Phone Scrambler. It's spun by one Mike Lubitz. Be hosting the Trivia Challenge live version tonight. And it's a different game altogether at Landlubbers in Plantation. And a fantastic place. Sunrise and Pine Island. Right there in Plantation. All right. Oh, baby. All right. This is good to know. We not only know that the lovely Beth Bernstein is in better health, but this man that he's breathing is always a plus for us. Andy, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. I've been training. I'm fighting Jerry Quarry in 2 months.
The only thing you didn't mention in that Facebook post was the gout. I thought you would throw that in.
I know you left it. I know. I left it out. I saw you put that. The thing is, Quarry's 8 to 5 and he's dead. What does that say for me?
It's not good, man. As long as you're not wearing a diaper. I mean, Jerry did not go out under the most glamorous of circumstances. That's for sure. All right, you have 1 point, Andy. You're in the game.
Football, Andy, true or false? After the Dolphins lost to the Bills, a lip-reading fan watching the post-game embrace between Mike McDonald and Sean McDermott thought he saw McDonald say to McDermott, I respect the F out of you.
Oh, probably.
True or false?
False.
No,
True?
it's true. That's true. Yep.
Wow. That's it, man. I respect the fuck out of you.
Give a shit.
That's how we feel about you, Dave Gurggles Gergely. We respect the fuck out of you. All right, 1 going for 4 here, Andy.
All right, Andy, let's give you another baseball question. With the Phillies win Tuesday night, they are now 28-11 at their stadium, the Link, with a .718 win percentage. Best of all time among teams with a minimum of 20 postseason games. What team ranks second with the second best percentage record with a minimum of 20 postseason games? Is that the Orioles, the Cardinals, the Diamondbacks, or the Mets?
The best home win percentage, I'll go
in the
with
postseason.
Arizona.
Diamondbacks, he said.
No, believe it or not, Arizona had a 638, but believe it or not, is meet the Mets at Shea. We're 26-13, a 667%.
No way.
I need to get 5 so I could tie Skinny Liddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
Holy
got it.
Tommy Agee, man. I can't believe you missed out on the Mets there, Andy. Very good. All right, going for 6 points and a tie for the lead with Lenny the
All
Clown.
right, boxing. Muhammad Ali in 1978 became the first 3-time heavyweight champion with a 15-round decision over Leon Spinks. Where was the fight held?
That
Joe
one I know.
Louis Arena, the Forum in L.A., Madison Square Garden, or the Superdome in New Orleans?
What were the first 2?
The first 2 were the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, the Forum in L.A., Madison Square Garden, or the Superdome in New Orleans?
Yeah, I don't remember. I'll go with Detroit.
Tell him, Jeff.
Superdome.
Superdome in New Orleans. That's right.
Yeah.
Man, we love you. Feel
A
better.
couple of my friends fought on the undercard there, guys that I was following out of California at the time. Of course, the often mentioned Albert Davila and Danny Little Red Lopez also was on the undercard of that fight. The great featherweight champion who unfortunately ran into Salvador Sanchez at some point. And that was it for Danny. All right, very good. Andy ends up with a total unworthy of being in the finals. However, that doesn't eliminate. That's the beauty of this game. You could be totally unworthy and still make it. So we'll play a few more before we get to the championship round. Lenny so far in the driver's seat with a 6-point spot, not insurmountable. Give us a call, 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070. One of my favorite parts now of this show, and it's always been a great time. I mean, think about this. We've been doing this in excess of 25 years now. Paulie Man vowing a comeback at some point in time, although, conditions would have to be a little bit more favorable, I guess, as in maybe some cash flow involved. But nonetheless, it's always been a blast. And yet my favorite thing that happens on this show now is the picture of Dave Gurggles Gergely in the Maldives puffing on a Perdomo cigar with an ice cold, just the most tempting glass of beer in front of him. Whatever that is, it looks sensational. That is you. That is the essence of Gurggles right there. Perdomo cigars fueling this great feeling that you're having.
Talk about having a beautiful lady, 26 people on an island in the Maldives with our own infinity pool over the Indian Ocean. A nice cold, I think I was drinking a Peroni maybe at that time, a nice cold Peroni beer, Perdomo cigar. There's another one with me with a Middleton Irish whiskey. That's a great shot as well. You don't have to go to the Maldives, 26 hours away by trip to get a Perdomo cigar. You can get one at 5150 Northwest 167th Street, right off the Palmetto, or you can come out to Miami Lakes Golf Course. We sell them here as well. They're open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We're open 7 days a week from 6:30 till dark here at Miami Lakes Golf Course. But call them, 305-627-6700. I think I've got a lot 23 right there. If you like the Maduro wrappers, we've got those as well at Perdomo's. 305-627-6700, the number to call. If you're not going to be there Monday through Saturday, you want to go on a weekend to get a Perdomo cigar, no, not a problem. Any tobacconists near worth their salt will have them. You can go online to www.perdomocigars.com to find the retailer near you that sells these great cigars. Great history, 3 generations back. Nick's grandfather, then Nick's father, Nick Jr. now make it 4 generations. Nick, an air traffic controller, left the business to operate this terrific cigar company. So today, tomorrow, when the Maple Leafs play the Panthers tonight in a great game, and I predict the Maple Leafs will win the Stanley Cup this year.
Oh, wow.
Put something great in your mouth with a cigar from Perdomo Cigars.
I think you have to add the choke factor into the equation there with the Maple
Yeah,
Leafs.
they always find a way because they're fucking loaded.
Perhaps a curse.
1967, baby. Dave Keon, Norm Ullman, Paul Henderson. That's
Was
the
Andy
last time.
Bathgate on that team? Andy Bathgate?
No, he was a Ranger, I remember, for a long time.
Didn't Bathgate play for the Maple Leafs at some point? Andy
He
Bathgate?
may have in his journey career. He may have.
Well, I mean, there weren't that many teams. So, when we were watching hockey, imagine had 6 teams in the league. 4 made the postseason. Who'd they eliminate every year? The Detroit Red Wings were awful back then. Were the Blackhawks? No, they had Bobby Hull, not the Blackhawks. They weren't half
Well,
bad.
67 is when St. Louis, Philadelphia,
Was that when they
Minnesota
added the
all
teams
came
in?
into the league that year.
Okay. All right. Check out Bathgate there and see if you ever played for the Leafs. I want to say yes to that. All right. We're coming back with more in a moment. Dave Gurggles Gergely, Perdomo Cigars. Has there ever been a look of a more satisfied man? You would swear that if they showed the bottom half of that picture that...
Who's naked?
won't go
you
into
were being
that.
pleasured by some gorgeous female who happened to be on her knees extolling your
Either that
virtues.
or I just caught a blowfish. So either way, that's it.
Jesus.
That would be, I mean, at that point, that becomes a very purposeful fish. All right, back with more in a moment. I think we better get out of here. Now that it's like 9 o'clock.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Solo Volante will be coming late. Oh, Solo Volante. The Belmont's now 1.8 miles. The finish line is coming up quick. Luca Panici, just switch the stick.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on The Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. It's the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Later on, around 9:30, we're going to be joined by one of our favorites here on the program, Brandon Lang. The great Brandon Lang, handicapper extraordinaire, the guy whose life they based the movie and the McConaughey character in Two for the Money on Brandon Lang. And to say that he brings it to the table, Gurggles, I would say would be an overwhelming understatement. Win, lose, or draw, always entertaining to listen to Brandon Lang, and mostly coming up with winners. Very, very astute when it comes to handicapping. His total recall is better than some basketball coaches, Lubie, would you say?
Yes, no, he remembers the craziest shit.
Crazy as shit. Like, remember a third down play. It's like Sean McVay, right? In some game from 17 years ago that resulted in a 1-yard plunge and a fumble, and how it changed his life. It's unbelievable what this guy's recall is. So some real astute handicapping coming your way. Brandon Lang, 9:30 today here on the Defo Show. We want to continue and conclude the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. We have some more people that we want to get into the game here. So 954-417-0070 is the number to call. Chronic in the lead right now at 6 points, an easily eclipsable total. So let's get right back into it with Dave Gurggles Gergely in our next set of questions.
Boxing. This journeyman fighter describing his skill set said, my 3 best punches were the chokehold, the rabbit punch, and the headbutt. It had only been one guy. Was that the great Chuck Wepner, Chuck Connors, Tyler Connor, or Tippy Canoe and Tyler too?
Here's a random phone scramble. I just remember the time that Chuck Wepner hung up the phone on me after Jersey Kyle got me on the phone with him, and we asked him to handicap some football games. I remember we were at the Bamboo Beach Tiki Bar. I'm on the phone with Chuck Wepner, and he says, you want me to come on your show? You'll have to talk to my lawyer about compensation. No. I was like, wow, how many times did this guy get hit in the head by Ali that fight? Here is Pat. Pat, good to have you on the program. How are you, Pat? Are you still striking? What's going on with that?
Hey, guys. Yeah, that strike's still on. Yep.
Okay.
Hey.
I mean, what's happening with that? I mean, is there any progress? Nothing? This is the SAG Actors Guild strike? What was that? No, you got garbled there. It sounds like we're in the middle of those negotiations. Like we can't understand you.
Give him a point.
All right, we're going to give you a point to see if we can make it out of this. All right, very good, Pat. You have 1 point.
All right, Pat, true or false? Football. Believe it or not, gambling sites such as BetUS and BetOnline have offered prop bets on a possible Swift and Travis Kelce engagement.
Oh, wow.
True or false?
I'll say false.
I'd say true.
No, that is true.
Yeah,
That's
there
true.
has to be a line on that already. What is the line? Do we know?
I don't know.
What would you take on that? 5-1? Something like that? It's probably
I don't
probably
bet
a
on
longer
humans.
shot, right?
I don't trust humans. I bet on horses.
Has Swift ever been married, or is it just
No,
boyfriends
no,
that she
never
sings about?
engaged.
Never been married. Wow. Okay. Something about her. All right. One going for 4 here, Pat.
All right, Pat, sports. In which sport was the late Walt Disney once seriously injured? Was that skiing, polo, tennis, or squash?
Wow.
I guess polo.
Polo.
He got hit by a polo ball, fell off his horse, and fractured 4 vertebrae.
Fuck. Okay.
Nothing funny about that, but that sounds very Beth Bernstein-esque, does it not?
It does.
In fact, it would have been more logical that she would have been hurt playing polo with her love of horses and all of that. And the fact that I think she spent a couple of hours out there watching polo at, Wellington? Is that where it's taking place? Yeah, Wellington.
Yep.
I can picture Beth in that same scene like the lady from I can't remember her name that went woo,
That sounds
long time
like
time.
any one of my ex-wives.
You know who I
What are you
mean.
talking about?
The one that was a prostitute that Richard Gere then married or something.
Oh, yeah.
Remember Julia Roberts?
Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts, yeah. When she went to the polo game like this with a drink in her hand. Yeah, very sophisticated.
That could be
I can see
Bernstein. Yeah,
Beth doing
yeah.
that.
She looks good in a Ryder's cap, Bernstein. No doubt about it.
Yes.
All right,
By
4
all
going
means.
for 9 here. Pat in the lead. You're in second place right now, so in a very favorable position.
All right, Pat. Baseball. On Monday, Kyle Schwarber hit his 4th career leadoff home run in the postseason, becoming the all-time career leader in postseason leadoff home runs, passing Derek Jeter and Lenny Dykstra, Joe Morgan, Ricky Henderson, or the aforementioned Jimmy Rollins.
Wow.
Henderson.
I'm going to say Rollins
No.
only because it's the second time you mentioned him today.
That's right. It was Jimmy Rollins. Him and Jeter had 3 each.
Maybe in the finals.
All right, not bad, Pat. Hang in there, baby. You're right there on the cusp of maybe making the postseason. You might want to hire Kim Ng. You have 4 points, and Lenny has 6. Try and get another player in before we go to the finals here. You can dial us up if you want to play. 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070 if you'd like to get in on the game. And we're going to go ahead and fire up our next set of questions and finish things off in the regular season with Dave Gurggles Gergely.
Hoops. This NBA great, on his surprise at being named the rebound leader for a season, said, "Wow, I never thought I'd lead the NBA in rebounding, but I got a lot of help from my teammates. They did a lot of missed shots." Was that Moses Malone, Mark Malone, Dorothy Malone, or Mike Malone?
Rolling a scrambler is one Mike Lubie Lubitz. And it lands on our good friend Bob. Bob, you're on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Hey.
Correct, Bob. How are you?
Well done, Bob.
Hallelujah. You
Fine,
have 1
thanks.
point. Very good. All right, 1 going for 4. I mean, for 2.
Golf, Bob. One of the more popular fan chants behind the first tee daily at the recent Ryder Cup was the people in the stands. We're the left. We're the center. We're the right of the tee. True or false?
Oh, what does that mean?
True.
True.
Yeah. In other
Makes
words,
sense.
the divided into 3 areas. We're the left and the center. We're the right. I don't know why that's not too original, but that's what they did. All right, you got it,
These
Bob.
European fans are freaks. Well, we know that.
Weirdos. What was it?
Come on. What kind of bullshit chant is that?
This shit would
They would have been better off just chanting Nam Yoho Renge Kyo while they were there. I mean, come on. And it didn't matter anyway, right? Because the Americans choked like dogs.
Yeah.
As they always do. Buried again on European soil. It's unreal.
I took Europe and laid 2.5. Loved it. All right.
Looked like they were storming a beach in World War II, man, just getting shot down right and left. All right, now going for 5 points here and still alive for the sweep is Bob.
Soccer, Bob. This country has won 4 FIFA World Cup titles, and they own the record for most appearances in the top 4 in FIFA competition. Is that Brazil, Italy, Germany, or France?
Italy.
Italy, man. No, Italy sucks, don't they?
Germany with the great Gerd Mueller.
Yeah, Brazil's won the most, but they haven't been to the most.
Neymar, by the way, carried out on a stretcher, man.
Yeah,
ACL, meniscus. I mean, he tore everything. They have to chop his leg off. It's unreal. All right, so he's out for the season for whomever he plays for, which, once again, it was a mystery, Gurggles. Do you happen to know when the MLS season, Major League Soccer, begins and or ends?
I think it's the same day. It's Groundhog Day. It's
You're
the same
fucking
day
around
every
right
year.
there. I mean, yeah, it's unbelievable, right? Starts on February 1st, ends on the 2nd. Or just the opposite, yeah. All right, here we go for the chance to go to the finals here. 5-point question for Bob.
Yes.
Back to baseball, Bob. In 2003, the last time Marlins won the World Series, this player, not a Marlin, set an opening day record with 7 RBIs in the opening day game. Was that Raul Mondesi, Corey Patterson, Chipper Jones, or Placido Polanco?
Mondesi.
That's what I'm going to say. Mondesi.
You think Mondesi?
No, it was Corey Patterson did that.
Who would have gotten that?
Well, thanks for playing. We appreciate it. Hopefully we get you back.
Thank you, Bob. Excellent job. All right, we do have the contestants here for the finals, and it's going to be Lenny the Chronic and Pat going to square off for the Landlubber's gift certificate that Lubie's given away, and there's a likelihood that they can receive that in person because there's a strong possibility that, certainly the Chronic and maybe both Pat and the Chronic will be at Landlubber's tonight for the live trivia competition. You can enjoy that with Mike Lubie Lubitz and the Professor, and it's a whole different ballgame, but, just a heck of a lot of fun. As they do a great job, as Gurggles has witnessed many times and also been a part of as the MC. Great crowd, Landlubbers. Yeah, Pine Island and Sunrise, a real good spot. Alex Sufreen, one of our favorites. Always loved hanging out with Sufreen. It's been a few years, but nonetheless, great sports bar with the right type of. I mean, when the people think in a degenerate mode, then you know it's going to be a well-run sports bar. You know the food's going to be great because you're going to need to have some kind of solace, and something that you can console yourself with and your misery after losing a zillion bets. It's got all the games on the screens there, including. I mean, did you see this air ball that ended the game last night? Liberty and the Aces, Lubie.
I didn't see it. Maybe
oh
Mike
my
did.
God! I mean, you can't be that far off on a shot. I'm sorry, man. As much as I want to join Sarni and embrace women's sports, I mean, if an NBA player took a shot like that and missed it that badly under those circumstances, while somewhat wide open, game on the line, championship on the line, and the ball, it didn't even just go over the basket. It went to the right of the basket. It was wide right, Luke. I mean, Gurggles.
It was like
wide right. I mean, how do you shoot the ball from the corner and it ends up landing in front of the basket without hitting
wide
anything?
right? She could be an FSU graduate. Who knows? Oh, sorry, Mike.
Holy shit! I mean, you were looking for Bobby Bowden to raise a fist out of the grave. Unbelievable. All right, we're going to head to the finals here, and let's do it. Let's just go right to it here. Gurggles is going to fire off the question. Call out your name if you want to answer right away. Nobody answers right away. We'll offer multiple choice. First person to call his name out gets first chance. We go back and forth till we have a winner for the championship of today's edition of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Here's Dave.
This is from my PBS background. On a recent edition of Finding Your Roots, former tight end Tony Gonzalez discovered he was the first cousin several times removed from which of the following historical figures? Was that Christopher Columbus, Vasco da Gama, William Shakespeare, or Marconi?
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Lenny
was first.
Lenny got in first. Who?
William Shakespeare.
Billy.
Shakespeare.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right. Shakespeare.
You
To
knew
be
it, huh?
or not to be.
Yes,
Yeah.
my
Well
friend.
done, Lenny.
That was a horse I bet on at Santa Anita one day with the Mighty Melendez. Coming back, showing some back class off like a 6-month layoff. Paid 46.40 and fueled a very nice evening, as I recall. To Be or
Beautiful.
Not was the name of the horse. Little back class on the turf every now and then. That's your kind of handicapping angle, right?
Yeah, Shakespeare was a good turf horse too, as a matter of fact. And by the way, tonight, Landlubbers, you hit it on nail on the head. What do you got? 5:00 is the Phillies game. Then you got
Yes.
the Panthers game. You got Thursday night football, and I always get there in time to watch the late races on TVG as well. So, wow, what a great spot.
Right there is an indicator of a place being a good sports bar, is it not? If they have TVG on at least one of the screens. Yeah.
That's right.
Doesn't even matter if it's off in the corner somewhere, and you're going to shove somebody out of the way to see who won the 4th at Charlestown. But, that's always a good sign that the people that are running the place are hip to the idea that, yes, we are all losing degenerates out there, and we can't get enough.
We love you, Gurgs. We'll see you next
Gurggles,
gentlemen.
excellent job, man.
Yep.
Unpack those boxes, all right? See if you can get some of that done.
Unpack those.
Well, that was an adventure.
We got through it. It's fine. It is what it is.
No, it went well. I mean, by our standards, it went extremely well, I would say. We only crapped out a couple of times. So it wasn't bad. 7 out. All right, stick around. We have a lot more to come here on the program. It's always a lot of fun catching up with Brandon Lang. It's 6:30 in the morning out there, Vegas time, and you don't know what he's going to come up with.
Yeah.
But it will be some astute analysis, and we didn't really dive into this too heavily here. I do want to congratulate our man, Mike McIntyre, as a 5.5-point underdog last night.
Finally, because I pick them every week. I left them alone last night, so I'm like, of course, this will be the week they win.
Yeah, 5.5-point dog last night, and they won the game outright. As I think they won 33-27 over Sam Houston in a conference game. So they're now 4-4 on the season. They score points. McIntyre, I guess, needs to work on the defensive side of it. We'll have to get him on the show
Back
sometime
on.
soon. Yeah.
Coming on regularly. So
Give us some kind of a season recap to this point, because there's action on it, and they do play on Wednesday nights. Now, I don't get with my cheapo cable system here. It's actually named El Cheapo Cable. For this dime that I'm paying in homeowners association fees with an assessment to come in short order, it may be time, Lubie. I may be on the road again. I don't know if I want to pay these prices here for the amenities, because if they're going to include cable TV, at least include something that somebody would want to watch, no?
Actual cable, not the bullshit cable that you don't give a shit about.
But I don't get CBS Sports Network, which normally I don't know that I would watch a lot of activity on CBS Sports Network. My general philosophy on television in the modern age is I want as many sports channels as I can have. And by the way, speaking of sports, another, just blow to the sport of boxing, Lubie. Showtime getting out of the business now.
Really? Oh, Jesus.
This is it. They have 2 more fights, fight cards scheduled. One's a pay-per-view. And that's it. Sayonara, Al Bernstein and crew.
Because of that, it's like I thought at least the big fights get attention. So even the pay-per-views don't work anymore. Like people aren't.
The pay-per-views apparently work. I don't know exactly. I'm not sure that they're bagging all of their sports on Showtime, all of their sports endeavors. They're getting rid of the entire sports department there. And they did some marvelous stuff when it comes to sports. And look, let's face it, their coverage of boxing after HBO went out of business was all you had. ESPN is televising some top-ranked fights on a regular basis with our good friend Brad Jacobs. And they put on good cards. But in general, you were going to find that on the subscriber-based sites that are charging more money, more of a premium channel, that you would have to consider what? ESPN is usually part of your basic cable package.
Yes. It's the standard thing. It's been a standard thing most of my life, yes.
Where Showtime is a choice that you have to make.
Yes.
The primary thing that I like a few other shows on there for sure, so I'll keep it. But nonetheless, that's it. A lot of people are concerned as to what that's going to do. It's going to send the sport spiraling into some kind of
all this
even further decline. Yeah.
ESPN Plus or what? First of all, the Zone I know is still in existence, but I think it is.
The Zone. What happened with that?
I don't know. Like, that's the thing.
You had that guy that's aligned with Levitard, Skinner. Is that the guy's name? Skipper or whatever? I don't know. John Skipper. Yeah, and he did all these things with the Zone, spending DAZN, spending gobs of money on rights to Major League Baseball highlights and things like that. And I see or hear nothing about him.
I didn't know they were still in existence until our buddy Jim I know he's attached to them. I see him post stuff. And I'm
Jimmy
like,
Rodriguez, yeah.
I guess they still exist, but I don't see none of the fights are like what fights are on there. It seems like ESPN Plus.
I don't know. Yeah, not much.
I mean, I don't know. So the fight game's not dead, but if no one's showing,
It's a shame, really. I mean, there's a lot of talent in boxing, and there would be a lot of compelling matchups to be made, and some of them are being made. I mean, you're seeing, quite a few. Naturally, unfortunately, Canelo is in a controlling position and doesn't seem to want to take on any real overwhelming challenges.
They won't fight.
But and the challenges that might be significant, he has distinct advantages over. I mean, Bud Crawford is going to fight Canelo or wants to. When you're jumping up those two divisions in weight, it's one thing if you're going from say 115 to 118. That's even a large jump, for a lot of people. But to move up from say 147 to 168,
oh, good,
or 160. That doesn't bode well for that doesn't usually translate into having the same kind of menacing power that you would find Terrence Bud Crawford possessed at $147. So and the other guys used to taking these shots. So I mean it's a huge advantage. But other than that, I mean Showtime finished El Finito, my friend. Getting out of the sports business altogether. They made some great sports documentaries also. Showtime.
Yeah, Showtime's great. Showtime and HBO with boxing were great, and just their sports was great. And HBO scaled back a lot, and I guess Showtime's getting rid of it altogether. That sucks.
Didn't they also have the documentation of they did like an all access on the Stanley Cup last year?
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure I watched that on Showtime. It was fantastic. Just a brilliant depiction of what was going on there. I mean, if you wanted to get inside this Stanley Cup series, which was beyond a bloodbath, even though it was only a short one. With Vegas dominating the Florida Panthers, who were as banged up as any team you could. How they even are fielding a team this year is incredible, considering where they were at by the time they got to the final stages of the Stanley Cup chase. And it shows you, I mean, how impossible is that Stanley Cup trophy to win, huh? You had all of those big favorites that the Panthers mowed down in the Eastern Conference. And then, after gathering just tremendous, sensational, almost serendipitous momentum, they go into the final series so banged up that you can't even imagine that they fielded a team. It was pretty incredible and still managed to win a game. So it was kind of interesting. All right, we're going to come back with Brandon Lang in just a few moments. He'll have some picks. You didn't really dive into this college football yet, Lubie. What about Penn State, Ohio State?
Yeah, I know our man.
Everybody's picking Penn State in this game. Everybody.
Bad, man. I haven't seen much of Penn State. Again, Penn State's another one that really hasn't played anyone. Ohio State hasn't looked fantastic, but it feels like they're starting to figure
Seems
it
like
out.
they were coming around over the last couple of weeks.
Feels like they're trying to figure it out, and they have a lot more talent than Penn State.
Yeah. Penn State just
Ryan Day is. Franklin seems to always fuck around in games like this. Like as bad as Ryan Day is in these games, and I know his fans aren't fanatically.
You're laying 4 on a hook with Ohio State.
I wouldn't lean Ohio State
at home.
Yeah, I would lean Ohio State there. The Horseshoe's not an easy place to play, and I don't know what State is. There's a Lara kid. They keep giving him credit, saying he's a great quarterback, and his numbers are in. And he's a true sophomore. So I don't know.
Was this number 2 large on the Florida State Duke game? 14 and a hook. Florida State looks great right now. I mean, their last couple of ball games.
We played one really good game. The week before versus VT, we stumbled in the middle, but we started and finished strong. Syracuse was our most complete effort, and we still struggled inside the 10. Duke, the problem for Duke is it's more and more seeming like they're really good defensively, and their offense is in. Like, and even when like Leonard, their quarterback's out, he hasn't played. So even if he comes back, he's not going to be himself. When he was playing, he wasn't strong. Like he was sort of fucking struggling, Riley Leonard, when he was out there. And that's FSU seems to be getting better defensively. It was really strong offensively. I think Duke will probably be as good a defense as they played all year, but they don't do anything on offense. And FSU's offense is good enough where eventually you think they'll get points. I don't like that big of a spread from a team that's almost top 15. So I wouldn't bet against my team, obviously, but I would lay out of that game. Like, it's almost 15 points.
Passeroo for Lubie on Florida State Duke.
They play really good defense. Like, this guy.
About evenly divided, the handicappers here.
I don't like that.
I'm looking at a series of 7 handicappers. This shows you how tough it can be. Of the 7 handicappers that are doing college football in the New York Post, I think they have 9 doing the pros. Of the 7 that are doing college football picks, only 2 are above 500.
Oh, Jesus.
You have Howie Kasoy, the boy wonder from many years ago, who has come back to the pack, but he's at 500. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 are slightly below 500. They're all, interestingly, at 49 and 53.
Well, look at the professor. I mean, the problem is these spreads are ridiculous, and the upper echelon teams are struggling. Like, even when they win, like Georgia versus Vandy is what, a 30-point spread? So even though they win by 17, that's not impressive. Like, Ohio State struggled, Michigan has struggled. Like, all these teams that people would load their record up with have not been covering.
How about Clemson, Miami? Clemson laying 3 on the road against what seemed to be a shattered and battered University of Miami team that appears once again that their biggest problem is
coaching. Exactly.
They're poorly coached.
Yes.
Wow.
I don't see why that gets mentioned.
Can we say that? I mean, is that fair? It just appears like helter-skelter.
They're not getting
on
better.
The sidelines there. I'm not a fan of the chaos that I'm seeing. Are you?
No, it's the same thing he's done his whole career.
He just looks perplexed. He doesn't look like he's in command, Mario Cristobal.
He's good at recruiting, which I still don't understand, because if you can't coach, why can you recruit? But
Yeah.
he's good at recruiting, and that's starting to struggle a little bit.
He's got that Todd Bowles look on his face, right?
Yeah.
Where he's saying, Todd, game's on.
Game day, I don't know, he looks off, and the team plays off. Look, they'll have these quarters where they're in it. Look, they almost had a lead going to half versus Carolina, and then it fell apart.
Yeah.
And that feels like that's what happens when they play actual competent teams. Yes, when they're playing Bethune-Cookman, he can look good. That's nice. It's fucking Bethune. They shouldn't be.
Yeah, I mean, he wipes the floor with these teams. This is interesting, though. Dabo, Clemson, they didn't appear to be the same early in the season, staggering around there. Like they've been on an all-night bender. And, they did seem to kind of, dare I say this, Lubie? I mean, you should strangle me for even bringing this cliche up. Clean a few things up.
Yeah.
As, they played their last couple of games, but favored on the road at Hard Rock Stadium. Not a huge advantage for the Canes to play at home, but you would have to think somewhat. Certainly better than playing at Clemson. I mean, that would be a distinct advantage for the Clemson Tigers in that ball game if it was played in their home park. 3 points, almost. Well, you got 4 and 3. The first 4 handicappers like Clemson, 3 like Miami. Well, we'll get some insight into what's going on. College and pro football coming up this week. It's always fun. It's always a hoot. And, if you're a little sensitive to harsh language and or concepts, you might find it a little bit offensive, but nonetheless, we love talking to Brandon Lang, who is scheduled to join us next year on a Defo show, and we'll take it out the door with Brandon Lang, handicapper extraordinaire, and just a wild and interesting gentleman to have on in any entertainment venue. And we'll have that for you in just a few minutes. Now that
the time,
it's 9:27.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Hi, guys. If I could squeeze in 2. One is just, can you say with certainty that Jimmy Garoppolo will be on the roster on Sunday?
I can't guarantee that anybody in the world will be alive Sunday, so I can't guarantee who will be on our roster on Sunday. So that goes for all of us.
From South Florida to the entire world, thank you to the iHeartRadio app. Here is Defo joined by Lubie on the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. We're awaiting the arrival of Brandon Lang and hoping that happens too, because I mean it is somewhat suspect. 6:30 a.m. in Las Vegas, and Brandon Lang, and not necessarily known to be turning in early at night on the Vegas scene. You would have to imagine that this guy goes out there and plays as hard as he works in terms of handicapping these games for people, and does a great job. BrandonLang.com. You can get all his information. We've always loved the swagger of a Brandon Lang. We
Yes.
met him for the first time. I was familiar with him, and I think I'd had him on some interviews before I actually met him.
Yes.
And that came about many years ago on a Radio Row situation at one of the Super Bowl games.
And one of our first Radio Rows, we had him.
Yeah, and we just thought, my God, this guy is as good as it gets. And then, of course, there was a legend attached to it with having his handicapping upbringing brought to light and, paid tribute to in cinema with the great movie Two for the Money, which we thought was brilliant. And it was still, I do remember there was an air of hostility that arose. Jeremy Piven is supposed to be a bit of a character, huh?
Yeah, he's sort of a fuck, is what
People think he's a real fuckhead, right? I believe my son might also be doing his taxes along with John Malkovich.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
We're fans of him. We had him on multiple times. But
he came to the studio that time, and I was enamored with Two for the Money.
Yes, I literally jumped in, and he made fun of my voice, which is classic. But he thought you were mocking him, and it was like, no, you really thought his performance was as good.
He was great in that movie. He really was. I mean, as good as he was as Ari Gold.
And I loved him as Ari Gold.
Yeah, in Entourage. I mean, he was brilliant in that. I mean, he's very good at everything. He's kind of like Paul Giamatti. Where any movie that he's in, any role you see him in, he always does a terrific job. And
yes,
I thought he was brilliant. I mean, I thought Jeremy Piven was absolutely brilliant in Two for the Money as one of the guys on the. It was a mock-up of the Proline handicapping show, where an old geezer sportscaster out of Las Vegas named Lee Pete would turn and go, Joe, you were absolutely on fire last week. And then the guy would go nuts, right?
You freak out.
And Piven was giving his picks. They had another guy on the set. I don't know who played the older handicapper there that was out on the left side of the set. But he was great. And, of course, McConaughey was playing Brandon Lang. Is Brandon with us? Or, no, not yet. So we're just killing time here. That's good.
So finish up.
But anyway, yeah, so we, had Piven in the studio, a legendary story. I wish we saved some of this stuff because I kept telling him how much I thought he was brilliant in that movie. And he finally just snapped on me and said, all right, already, enough busting my balls.
Yeah, I have everything. I can save everything.
I meant this, in the highest of complimentary, forms that and the most flattering of circumstances that, I thought you were really good in this movie. Lang, of course, played by Matthew McConaughey. And, after that period, I don't know. They should do a follow-up, shouldn't they? With Brandon Lang and see, where he's at today. Because it seems like he's in a more formidable position than ever, no? In terms of being able to pick games and have that kind of insight. All right. What do you think? I mean, are we going to get a scratch only here? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we go to 40, so we'll go another 5.
Well, hang in there, hang in there a little while longer and see if we get them. All right. You were doing some handicapping, though, Lubie, and actually showing some element of, acumen on this. You said stay out of the Florida State game. You always say that, though. You're a wimp when it comes to your own team. You're so afraid to predict they're going to win.
No, but usually I'll give a pick. I'll give a play if you really want me to. I think Duke's defense is good enough where I wouldn't pick them to win per se, but that's a lot of points for an FSU team that the defense has struggled. And the offense has actually struggled. The offense has put up a lot of yards, but they inside the red zone have had issues. And they've had trouble finishing drives, and their defense has allowed teams to move the ball. And on the ground, their defense has been So I can see FSU winning, but I don't like that spread. By the time, especially if you wait till game time, it could be over 15 points. I guess
more than 2 touchdowns. Yeah.
And there are times
Florida State, though, I mean, when they get their offense rolling there, I mean, it's almost like the old days when they had so much speed, they just, outquicked everybody. And you thought, my God, and it does seem like they've been better defensively the last
they've been
couple
able
of ball
to
games.
And start and finish games, which they
I'm
weren't.
not
doing
sure what Syracuse had to offer after that shellacking they took at the hands of North Carolina the previous week.
Yeah.
That kind of exposed them. And Dino Babers, I don't know. He must have the same Pasqualoni pictures. At some point they're going to have to question whether this guy really can do the job. Seems like a good guy, and
I like the guy. I don't know.
It's a big departure from my days with Ben Schwartzwalder there, but nonetheless. Who was the other guy that he was like the McPherson? Was that the other coach there?
McPherson?
Yeah.
Don McPherson, I think, was a coach. Yeah.
He was kind of like almost like a preacher type. Then wasn't he a big religious guy, McPherson? He did all right. Pasqualoni had his moments, but nobody's really able to take that program and turn them into anything of any lengthy period of significance over the last many years. I mean, and you would think that the same would not be true of the University of Miami. Yet, I mean, if they lose to Clemson in this game, you would start to really question, I mean, what's going on with Mario Cristobal, or does this guy just get a free pass for the next 6 years? To the point, you would have to think the natives would start to get restless a little bit more so than they even are right now.
I mean, he's going to get 3 years. I've said that he's going to get 3 years. The kind of contract they gave him, $80 million. The buyouts are fucking nuts on that. It's not like UM has money to do that. So
imagine the feeling though of failing in a job miserably and still getting paid $60 million. That has to be a wonderful feeling, no, Lubie? I mean, just absolutely sensational. All right, Lubie with phone activity, and that could mean that we may be in luck here and be able to bring you a little bit of Brandon Lang's insight into what's going on, because we're just babbling about these ball games here and really have no level of certainty that we've seen so far. I don't know which way to go. I'm thinking for some reason Clemson beats Miami, which will trigger another wave of ugly comments about where the program is at and Mario Cristobal and whether or not, they should just consider eating it and, maybe selling all of the artwork in Donna Shalala's home. I don't know. How do they pay for this $80 million contract that they're going to have to swallow? Unbelievable. Oh, you got him? Yeah. Beautiful.
Oh, ready to go. The one only Brandon Lang joins us.
Let's get right to it here because we were a little late jumping in with Brandon Lang, extraordinary handicapper and man about town. Brandon, how are you, my friend? Brandon Lang, are you there? Shouldn't have too much of a problem here. Did he hang up on you, Lubie? Because we were doing too long of an intro? What was the deal? Brandon Lang. All right, we're going to try and punch him up here. So far, we've had our share of technical catastrophes. We have him now. Brandon Lang, how are you, my friend?
How's the reception, boys?
You sound good, my friend.
You sound great. You really do.
Sure.
You sound good. Where are you, dare we ask?
I'm in New York for one more week with my girl. Then I head back to Vegas. I was out playing golf with my buddy the other day. He said, he goes, man, my elbow's bothering me. I'm like, what? He's like, my elbow's bothering me. I'm like, what are you going to do? He's like, I don't know. My doctor can't see me for a month. I said, bro, hop in my car. I'll drive you down to CVS. They got this new machine. You put a little DNA in this vial, put it in the machine, pay $10, tells you exactly what's wrong with you. My buddy goes, no way. I'm like, let's go. We drive down there, puts his DNA in the vial, pours it in the machine, pays $10. 30 seconds later, the machine spits out a ticket. Says, you have tennis elbow. You soak that baby in warm water once a night for 1 hour for 6 weeks, you'll be cured. Guy says, no way. I said, yeah, I told you. So he takes the vial. He goes back home. As he's walking in his house, he takes his dog's stool sample and puts that in the vial. Then he walks in, his daughter's drinking a glass of orange juice at the kitchen counter, so he gets her DNA in there. Walks upstairs, his wife just took a piss, forgot to flush the toilet, so he gets her DNA. He looks around, he jerks off in the vial, shoots a big load in, and goes, all right, I'm going to fuck that machine up. Goes back down to CVS, pours it all in the machine, pays $10. He waits. And he waits. And 1 minute later, it spits out a ticket and says, your dog's got worms. Get it to the vet right away. Your daughter's got a drug problem, coke, crystal meth, and heroin. Get her into rehab or she's going to be a porn star. Bad news, your wife's pregnant. Good news, it's not yours. Get a lawyer. And if you don't stop jerking off, you ain't never getting rid of that tennis elbow.
Good morning, Brandon Lang.
Good morning, Brandon Lang. Good to have you on the program. All right, we want to get right to some games here because we're a little short on time, but 3-2-1 last week here on the show. You say you were hitting college football, and beating it like a drum, which is great. That's excellent. So a little of that momentum continued here last week on the program with your public picks. What do you have for us this week?
Well, let's do a little big dog action. LSU plays Alabama next week. And with that defense that can't stop anybody, they're laying 30.5 to Army. Give me the Cadets plus the 30.5 to keep it close, to take the air out of the ball and force LSU to play a little ball control. Give me Army plus the 30.5 over LSU. Arkansas State at home plus 10 over Coastal Carolina. I don't think Coastal Carolina should be laying this kind of wood. Give me Arkansas State plus the points. And Auburn at home. Nice, juicy home underdog plus 6.5 over Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. Give me Auburn and Hugh Freeze to get it done big time. Let's move to the National Football League, where we have a couple of good games that we like, boys. By the way, how'd I do in the NFL last week?
You're 2-1. The fucking Chargers, like always. Fuck you.
Yeah, Brandon Staley. I mean, did you want to say anything about Brandon Staley before we
Let's not listen.
continue here?
It's not so much his fault. Justin Herbert played like the fucking homo. I mean, seriously, fucking homo. I mean, he might as well have gone to a gay bar and just bend over and fucking took 10 inches of black cock in his ass all night long. He fucking buried the world. He buried the fucking world. He was fucking garbage, that kid. He's doing those fucking Subway commercials, you fucking piece of shit fuck. Unreal how bad he was. And then he says typically what everybody's got to say. Well, there were some throws out there that I had to make, and I just have to play better.
Yeah.
Really? What's the name of that fucking sub? The salami slap my cock up against my face? Good for you, pal. Good for you. Fucking unbelievable.
I saw that on the menu.
All right.
I think that's one of the $5 subs this week.
How bad was he?
The
game
salami
was right
slap
there
my
for
fucking
80.
bud.
Dude, that's a
Yep, I got the new salami sub. It's salami, ham, turkey, and black cock in a bun. There we go, baby. That was Justin Herbert taking his seat. Gotta love Big J Dog, baby. Gotta love Big J Dog.
Yeah.
National Football League.
Yes, where are we going?
Yeah. The Seattle Seahawks at home over Arizona. I'm not a big chalk guy, but I think that's going to be the way to go. You watch Denver plus 1.5 over Green Bay at home. Green Bay shouldn't be favored over anybody on the road, so we're going to take Denver at home plus the points over Green Bay. And last but not least, give me Miami plus the 1.5. I'm going to buy it up to plus 3. Bottom line, I don't think Philly's as good as everybody thinks. I think their secondary is a sieve, and I think Miami goes in there, buy it up to 3, and take the Dolphins to get it done over the Philadelphia Eagles.
There we go.
I'm with you there. I don't know about even buying it up to the 3. It just seems to me the Eagles are a little flat offensively this year. I guess they're getting 2 of their guys back, possibly. They were at practice, Jalen Carter being one of them, and one of their cornerbacks looks like he's going to return. It was out last week. But this is not a good team to face with injuries at the cornerback position, for sure, the way they've been firing it up on offense.
Think about this. They played New England, struggled, but they covered. A miracle.
Yeah.
Minnesota, they gave up the back door. Tampa Bay's fucking garbage. Baker Mayfield might as well go back to doing those Cleveland Browns stadium commercials. Then they struggled with a Washington team, 10-point home favorite against Washington, who gave up 40 to the winless Bears, and they should have lost to Washington outright at home. Then they go out to L.A. Rams just didn't have it. Then they lose outright to the Jets. Jalen Hurts, 15 interceptions and was fucking garbage. I would take Miami all day long.
Nice.
We love it, man. All right, say hello to the girl for us in New York City.
Enjoy
And we look forward to you being back in Las Vegas. And I would imagine you would challenge that gentleman with the tennis elbow to a game of golf. But watch out. I mean, if he decides to go for another DNA sample just to check and see if the pharmacy was right. Thanks so much, Brandon. Always a pleasure, my friend. Oh, BrandonLang.com. Tell us about that a little bit here. People can log in.
Just go to Justin Herbert Loves Fucking Trannies.com. There we go, baby.
You're a great American, my friend. Thank you. Brandon Lang, ladies and gentlemen. One of a kind. No?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I knew we'd get him started, man. See, you know what to do. It's like Niagara Falls with him. All you have to do is mention the Los Angeles Chargers.
Oh yeah, he asked about the NFL. That's where he failed. Was the Chargers?
Chargers.
How does he keep playing with the Chargers?
It's almost impossible. I mean, even though they don't lose every game to the spread. I don't know what their record is. I would imagine it's somewhere around 500. The Chargers, but how can you bet them? I mean, they always seem to fuck things up, don't they?
Do you know his third college? I know he did Army, LSU, Auburn, Ole Miss. You know what the second one was? I lost.
Arkansas State. He liked plus 10 over Coastal Carolina.
Okay, Arkansas State over Coastal Carolina. Okay.
Hosting Coastal Carolina. Yeah. We didn't ask him about Penn State, Ohio State. But, we'll have some handicapping steam on that tomorrow on the Degenerate Friday show, no doubt. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Mike Mayo's Lunchbox today from the Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market.
Yes.
And that's always a lot of fun. It's the stone crab season, and we'll be cracking our first crabs of the season today, courtesy of Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. Very generous, is Doug Carter, with the array of food that he puts out there. I mean, all of the places that we go have been fantastic.
Yesterday, they were.
Wow, yesterday's was enlightening, actually. With Bert Rappaport, those salads were fantastic. I dug into a couple of them after I got home.
Really good.
That was really good. I mean, some light fare there at Max's Grill.
That was nice.
Always been a classic place, but they really, I mean, they just keep changing, keep evolving, and some of the things they put out there yesterday, those lettuce wraps were top notch, man. Right. I mean, I'm a big lettuce wrap fan in general. Sometimes you don't get enough of the stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's like they put it in a little thimble, and you're like, I got like 8 lettuce leaves here, and this isn't enough to fill half of one.
You know the lettuce, and they never give you enough of the filling.
Ton of lettuce, yeah. Fucking lettuce out your asshole. But this was perfect yesterday. And the sauce that they had to go with it was absolutely divine.
Really?
Good stuff. So we'll be there at Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market later on today. That's on 441, just south of the Hard Rock, a little south of the Hard Rock, and across from the Classic Casino.
This is a big
original.
I mean, it's easy to find. It's a big fucking chicken on 441.
Good barbecue weather, man, coming up. At least that's the way it looks over the weekend. I mean, this is divine outside.
Thank God.
I'm doing a walk of life at night. It can't be any more fantastic. I mean, it makes you feel alive again, my friends. All right, thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
9:46.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.